That's a little bit too much, I think. Let's just pick 4 of them. I think I already did. Hello, Martin Gamer. How are you? Let's remove all the others, or yeah, I know. I spent a lot of time finding them. But, well, why not? Remove textures, resource textures. Well, that's a copy. Apparently I'm using that one and not this one. That's 4. So I guess those are the 4 that I'm using. Yep. Right, so what I'm going to do is split my just texture class in two parts. A part that has to do with the declaration in the GLSL shader code, and the part that more represents actual memory in the GPU. I think that they are in shader resources, probably it's in pipeline or in shader builder. I hope in shader builder. Yep. So this should just become declaration and not the rest. And let's have a look at what it currently looks, how it currently looks like. The base is the shader resource base class, so this really should not be any different. I mean, this should really not contain anything else than declaration related things. Hello, Super King. Yeah, created what? The set key is related to the declaration. Set layout bindings to handle. Nobody knows what that is. Yeah, to be honest, I have no idea. Certain things. I mean, I use abbreviations like instantiate, and then that is the member function of the texture class. So it's the instantiation of textures. But it doesn't say which part. How can I approach this? It's difficult. Okay, let's try going to my new README that I was working on. Yeah, I just have to spell everything out, maybe. So this is my window for what I'm going to write. And it has 4 pictures. And the idea was that the left side is drawn by pipeline 0 and the right side by pipeline 1. And each contain 2 textures. but I want them to use the same shaders. If I manage to do that, then I should have a clear picture of what is declaration and what is actual picture, because we're going to have a single declaration for, sorry, we're going to have one shader for both pipelines. So whether or not this takes two declaration or one, I don't even care. The top one definitely has an associated declaration. And then we have a different picture for pipeline 0 and for pipeline 1. So I'm pretty sure that we have at least two pictures for a given declaration. Maybe even 4. Sorry. And the plan is you have this as vertex shader. Hi, mechanics. Yeah, well, either way, if I can get it to work, then this would do, because it definitely does have only a single here. No, sorry, I have to look at this one. Okay, here we have two declarations, top and bottom. And I could make that a single descriptor, and then use it that single descriptor as an array. But I don't think that is really a point, or so it's not really important at this point. So even though I have two of them, we're still going to have to rip this thing a little bit apart then, the texture, because we have two different textures for the same declaration, depending on the pipeline. I'm going to use a push constant for the place, so the push constant is going to be different for each pipeline, and that then determines if it goes to left or right, but yeah, whatever works. There are better methods, but got to start with something. Now, before I rip it apart, split texture in two parts, I should be able to do it with my current code if I just use a single pipeline. If I have just one pipeline, then I have two declarations, two textures, they're just one texture per declaration, and that should work. So maybe I should first write that. And I'm going to and then we have an application that just draws two textures. I think that's a good idea. Mechanics, no. I'm learning Vulkan basically by writing this. I didn't even do graphics before this. Everything is new for me. Well, I hope so. I've been programming for a very long time, and I do it 7 days a week. This for 2 years now. Vulkan. I think the whole graphics thing is very difficult, and Vulkan is also difficult. So I have definitely a disadvantage in comparison to people who are already experts in, say, OpenGL and then start to learn Vulkan. That must be a lot easier. So this is the same thing, right, that I had in my README? I think so. So how does this work? This is the vertex shader. It's being called with, well, it's basically being called for each vertex. And we have 6 vertexes, I think, per square. 2 triangles. You can also do that with 4 vertices, and then you have to change some setting somewhere, and then it just makes 2 triangles out of the 4 vertices. But all of that doesn't really matter at this point. So each vertex this is called, and then we also get the texture coordinates. So where in the texture that vertex corresponds to. Well, they're all going to be on the corners of the texture, and texture coordinates run from 0 to 1. So this is going to return it's a vector 2. It's going to return 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, or 1, 1. That's the 4 corners of our texture. And we do not do anything with it. We just read it here, you know, for each vertex. And we write it out to vec2 so that the fragment shader can read it. So here is an input input in the fragment shader. So the fragment shader is called for each pixel, not just for each vertex, but also every pixel in between. And it's going to have to interpolate. So I think that it might already have been interpolated. The texture coordinate. Let's say we have 128 pixels between the corners, or 128 by 128 image that is in full view. So you really get 128 pixels on your screen. Then, if I'm not mistaken, I don't really know this, so, but at least, you know, the fragment shader is being called a lot more often. And then it reads pixels from the texture by interpolating it between wherever we are in between two vertices, or rather somewhere inside a triangle. And now we get a color, and we write out color, and that then mysteriously appears on the screen at some point. Yeah, well, it's, I don't know. From the looks of it, location 0 is just the color output. Or else, how does it know that that's the output of the color? Anyway, I think this should work. So let's try this somehow. This is not GLSL. It's an invention of me. Using two columns is not GLSL. But my code is going to find this and I replace it and generate a declaration for it. So I call this a template rather than the actual code. And these are strings, raw strings. And I have to register them with the engine. That's what we do here. So this is the vertex shader template code, and this is the fragment. We have two. And shader info is my object, and it can load those things. And then we call register shaders on the application. Which returns certain indices or handles, whatever, which we keep, because this is a temporary vector. Now we make a copy of it. And, well, that's all there is, I guess. Now, from that moment on, we can address these two GLSL, well, template code things by index. So we're going to have the M shader indices 0 and 1. And that gives the indice, and then we can use the indice to address the actual shader. This is my texture object. I have 4 of them, but yeah, I can only use 2 at the moment. This might already be a problem. Let me look where the M textures is defined. Okay, give them different names at least. Apparently 0 is top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. 0, 1, 2, 3. So we want to use top left and bottom left, and we only draw left. Then I need to for pipeline 0 we need to add we need to use 0 and 2. And for pipeline 1 we use 1 and 3. Hello, Everton. So here the indices are being used. Vertex 0 is just 0, I guess. I only have 2 of them, right? 0 and 1. Music got stuck again, as usual. And then they are being pre-processed. And compiled. Okay, we have here a number of pipelines. Probably should set that to 1 then. So we're just creating a single pipeline. Compile it, see what happens. Boom, 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 boom. I'm using Arch. Scotty. Brolowski. Oh? Where will that go to? I made an alias. There it is. TT. Okay, now it's not working, it cannot compile. It's something. I cannot compile this, and the reason is obviously because it did not replace the double colon. Like I said, it's not GLSL. I think the reason it's not replacing it is because I never used top. I'm using M texture something, or what am I using? It's the GL. I call this the GLSL ID string, or full GLSL ID string. So I can just go back to, let's say, my window. Now where I create a texture. That's what I'm actually using. These are the postfixes, and then you get a full string if you put texture in front of it. Okay, apparently I'm using this. Not top bottom, but top left and bottom left. So we see that is a problem, because we only have top and bottom. This T comes from the number of textures. See, that's completely wrong. It goes wrong here. The number of textures is obviously 4. So maybe I should change that to 2 then, because I cannot do it with 4 at the moment. I don't think that will compile then. And then here where I just make it top and bottom. So I have 2 textures, top and bottom. And now it should find it back, because these are really the names, and I'm using in the GLSL template code. I use texture colon top and texture colon bottom. So let's do a new attempt. What is this? Too many initializers. Okay, we have one here as well. Yeah, then that is also going to be top, I guess, and bottom. I'm just using left. Oops. Quadrant or yeah, and quadrant, but segmentation font. It's not an assert. It's a step back. An assert isn't that bad. It's usually explaining what's going wrong, but now you have to run it in the debugger. Run. Music got stuck again. Yeah. I don't want it here. Okay, segfold. So while printing a texture. So a few really weird values in it. I would say that it is not really initialized. It was looks like random data. Yeah, random data. Too many 0 pointers and random odd pointer. This data is nonsense. Up. Wait. Data is what we're trying to print. So that would be texture then. Yeah, it's the same thing. Texture was being passed to add texture. Yeah, that's correct. I didn't fix that. So now, before it was +2, but now I removed the right texture from the in between. It must be +1. And pipeline must be 0, of course. So I'm gonna even change it to 0 and 1. Hello, Bramble, and thank you. Quadump. Failed to compile. GL instance ID undeclared identifier. I don't know. Who came up with GL instance ID then? I assumed I was just copying it. Yeah, okay, I invented it. GL instance something. Gonna Google that. Actually, I think they're using it here. Control F. Instance. Nope. I think that my S here is probably best to which S. Yep. GS. Can do GS, TL instance, TLSX, I mean. Nothing, really? That's really, really, really strange. Oh, he's using this. And why did I not find that? Because I'm not looking in .vert files, I guess. I don't know where I got the ID from then. No idea. Yeah, it didn't help. Thought it was scared. Dual instance index undeclared. Excuse me, did I not just use something else? GL instance index. Maybe it's only defined in the vertex shader. Because I'm using it in the... Yeah. I'm using it in the fragment shader. And he's not. Well, I guess that the best solution would be to I think I could use a texture here that we just, just a single texture that we declare ourselves as input in the fragment shader and as output in the vertex shader. And I'm doing this if in the vertex shader, and then we just write the correct texture to pass it on to the fragment shader. And otherwise we have this branch here. I mean, like I said, it doesn't all matter really. It's just a test where we want to eventually be able to divide my class into. I'm going to compile this to see if how the declaration looks like really. Assuming it will generate it now. We get 0 textures and validation errors. But compiling. I want to see. Oh, here it is, I think. This is another one. Probably something else. This is the one. Well, this is how it declares the top. Yep. Yeah, uniform sampler 2D. Well, I don't know. I'm just gonna try something. How about that? I just copied the first part from here, and then vec2 is the type, so you put this in as type, and then I invented a name. It's probably not going to compile, but hey, who knows? Now we have to repeat that here, apparently. Location 1, and now it's an input. And then we can use that as I'm just running directly to outcore. And then the GL instance index should exist here. So now I can just copy to that variable, or this variable, it's the same. My texture top. Or bottom. Well, I mean, why not? Fail to compile. Nope. Error. Uniform. Too many storage qualifiers. Okay, I guess it's not uniform then. I guess it's just not uniform, right? Let's try it like that then. A uniform means that it is the same for every vertex, because it's a global variable. That's an interesting crash. Oh yeah, nog een alert. Fail to compile. Sampler 2D, sampler image types can only be used in uniform variables. Or function parameters. I think my attempt is failing. think of something else. I could ask on Discord, I guess, but then how long it will take before they answer. Let's try it like that. I think we can use this sampler here. Int must be qualified as flat in. What? Okay, I guess I'm gonna ask how to do this. What was the error again? If I tried to use it directly? Hmm? Did it just compile the fragments here? Triple seven. Created object. Yeah. Apparently that compiles. And then why does this not compile? And there was a problem with this one as well. Let's tackle one thing at a time. Everyone is sleeping. Yeah, int. Yeah, it's in the frag. Int must be qualified as flat in. Yeah. It compiled. Yeah, well, I mean, you would think that it's going to execute either this or that. And therefore, it cannot be so that we get nothing because of something that is going wrong with the instance index. No, I don't think so, no. It looks like... I want to be sure that my shader code is correct. Otherwise we'll look forever. Assume that it is okay. So let's have a look at the validation errors then. Now it coordinates. What? Okay, stopped at the first validation error. Which constant is used in the VK stage vertex bit of pipeline factory M shader input data M shader model 0, but M pipeline layout doesn't set VK shader stage vertex bit. Really? I don't even understand it. Now, by the way, one of the reasons I'm writing this Vulkan engine is to avoid this kind of problems. It should go automatically correct, like always. I don't want to see this kind of difficult to understand validation errors. I don't want to be the one who is specifying bits. It should figure it out itself. So, what the hell did go wrong then? Okay, module here is just a compiled shader, and 0 is the vertex. So the vertex shader, it says push content is used in, why would you repeat this, of the vertex shader. Now of course they don't know that I have beautiful debug names like this. This could have been just a hexadecimal value, and then it makes sense to tell you that it is the vertex shader. Push constantly used in vertex shader. But the pipeline layout does not set the VK shader stage vertex bit. Yeah, okay. Let's go up, see which function call that is. Create graphics pipeline is the problem. So it is visible from the pipeline create info. So here is 2 stages. It was mentioned here. Layout must be consistent with all shaders specified in P stages. Now that stages just contains a pointer to the compiled shader module. So that's why it knows that the vertex shader is using the push constant. And then we have layout. I guess it must be a problem with the layout. And the only thing that we have in the layout is that, a handle. Not useful, but I can highlight it and then search for it. It's printing of the same thing. So we're just calling create graphics pipeline. But of the pipeline handle, it's only The layout, I mean, we only have this handle here. So going up. I must say, I see stage flag fragment here and no vertex. But I don't see how, yeah, another one, also fragment. Okay, created object and pipeline layout 0. Create pipeline layout. Okay, I remember that I added a vertex flag away somewhere. I have, of course, absolutely no idea where. But yeah, no idea where. But you can maybe find it because it was a copy. I made a copy of something. And that had in it, let me just do a grab. There was a vertex in it, and then let's say only identifier characters, and then an OR sign, and then we, after a while, oh, again. At some point we had a frag, I think. Maybe maybe even upper cases, I don't know. Don't tell me that doesn't exist. Yeah, that's not what you want. Okay, let's search for it way more broader than that. There's something. Okay, there would be columns in it. Game resource count, this one, that's the same thing. This is in textures. So, did not edit it away here. Okay, all columns. Still the same thing, isn't it? Yeah, I have indeed push constant that is being used in vertex and fragment. And in textures, that's the one that we're working on now, push constant, also vertex and fragment. And I thought, well, I'm only using my push constant in the fragment one. So let's remove the vertex flag. Okay, so maybe G grab project sources push constants. So it does have flags. Nope. Okay, well, I just something I remembered, but apparently I either remember it wrong or I cannot find it. Pretty sure I did delete it. Well then, I don't know. Let me think. Let's have a look at I am using the push constant indeed in the vertex one. Turn this around. I only use it in the vertex here. So we're using it here in the vertex shader. I'm adding it to my engine. I'm pushing the push constant. Telling it that it has to be visible in the vertex shader. We don't even get here, by the way. It goes wrong at the moment that you're creating the graphics pipeline. But yeah, if I compare that with, say, this one. I meant that. So my header is being used here in both vertex and fragment. There's a comment, but it's still being used. Nah, not really. It's not being used. Well, this comment causes it to generate a declaration, so it is used. Yeah, so why would this work and then the other one not? The only other thing that I see is this. Push constant ranges. Nobody knows what that is. Do we not have that? I don't have that. The missing stuff here. I guess I have these two as well. I have no idea why I didn't delete it. I think I did not delete it. I might have copied from the other example, which does not have vertices. or push constants. So let's add this whole block. And then I also need to add probably these lines. Vertex input descriptions, so these go both at the top. Not robust enough. You can make this kind of errors, but just forgetting a few lines, and then the only thing that happens is that you get a validation error. That's not good. Might even be avoidable. I mean, if you do one of the lines and then the other lines are missing, why would you have to do both lines? And vertex input binding descriptions was not declared in this scope. And attribute description wasn't. Yeah, and that class is definitely too large. I want to, or I have to move stuff of it into the engine, so the user code doesn't have to do all of that. Still not working. At least it's another one. Expects that this command buffers vertex binding index 0 should be set via vk command bind vertex buffers. This is because p vertex binding descriptions dot binding value is 0. My guess is I'm missing that. Let's see which function is complaining. In draw frame, draw is complaining. Okay, so probably missing that. Yeah, might as well edit those two files again. So this one around here. frame resources has stuff that that I don't have yet. So this is around. I do have the push constants, right? Okay. Now I forgot what the error was. No, there it is. Point vertex buffers. Unwind. So I bet that is missing. In the other one. Yep, totally missing. Right, so this happens before the set viewport. And just copy all that. After bind descriptor sets, before set viewport. Now I'll put the set viewport outside of this loop. But I guess that anything that depends on the graphics pipeline needs it. Does this. Not really. There's no graphics pipeline here. Let's try putting it outside the loop. I mean, I currently have only one pipeline anyway. But okay, I think this makes more sense. And then I need an M vertex buffers. Where we have two buffers, one with the vertex and the other one with the index buffer. Unfortunately, no, we don't have it. So much is missing here, right? Vertex buffers. I'll just copy that as well then. This is put below the shader indexes here. Well, they are dynamic in this case. This would be a good place, I guess. Those are the shader indexes as an array. So this gives me two vertex buffers. And what are we doing with that? Create vertex buffers. Don't tell me you don't even create those things. Yep, just creating. Big function. And do we not have a create vertex buffers? I do not have a create vertex buffers. Really? Like, seriously? Okay, that one is put below create graphics pipelines. And I'm just going to copy over it, all of it. Who cares about code duplication at this point? It goes there. I don't believe anything has to be changed. Just copy it. Code duplication. Or not. Missing header maybe. Copy data to buffer. And codem demo. Looks like a genuine codem. The bind vertex buffers crashes. It is not allocated. We're not calling create vertex buffers. I mean, I added the function, but if you're not calling it, yeah. Oh, it's also being called from window. So it's still missing that part. Huh? Yeah, that's what I'm going to work on when I get to it, you know. I mean, I was working on this and then I was distracted and then I was working on that distraction, or actually something that I needed to fix this. And then I was distracted again, or actually I had to do something else to fix what I need to fix to what I need to fix this, something like that. So it's like, yeah. And now I have to make a duplicate of it. Characteristic initialize. Oh no. I'm just gonna copy it. Between topology and realize descriptor layout. Might as well run it in GDB immediately. Or not. I think we have a texture. Up here, at least. Not really where I want it to be. And only one texture, or maybe just all coordinate stuff is wrong. I think this is a 0, 0, like it put something that is too small, centered at 0, 0. Okay. No validation errors. It just works. Well, except for the place where to put it. Yeah. It doesn't come to me while I watch it at a quarter over texture. So what's wrong? I'm just writing a Vulkan engine, a game engine, say, or a graphics engine, based on Vulkan. Let's see. I think that the square that I'm generating runs from -1 to +1. So that would definitely be that the 0, 0 is in the center of my square. I'll check that as soon as I clean the poison of my glasses. Right, let's have a look. Vertex data, square. Shit, what is this? Yeah, the positions run from minus size to plus size. So that's the center is at 0, 0. It seems I made it a bit too small. At the very least, let's make it twice as large. See what happens then. So then I think it's its size, right? So now it runs from -0.5 to +0.5. The size. I was convinced that we needed a quarter. I think my whole window is like 0 to 1. Yeah, I also have distance. So I think I set my Z coordinate at 0, and I thought that when Z is 0, position 1 is probably right on the other side of my window. But yeah, I don't want to keep it this way, so we have to reposition it by using the instance position. Doesn't look correct at all. -1? Oh, this is overridden with the push constant. The x coordinate. Okay, let's do the y coordinate then. Y coordinate is -1 or 0. Okay, which one are we using? Which one are we seeing? What if I change this to a quarter? Then it shifts down, and that's the y value that we are seeing. John, yeah, write a hello world for Vulkan. Evil laughter. It just blew up, it did not shift down. Pretty sure that is the center. So I made it larger, but let's try this one. -1, yeah, well, I mean, -1, really? Let's change it to -1/2. That moved it down. Yep, okay, so I think I'm using -1/2 now. But then what do we get here? Maybe because 0 is in the middle? That's a possibility as well. So this is from -1 to +1. Oh, that would explain a lot. So the window coordinate is actually from -1 here, and 0, 0 in the center, and 1, 1 here, maybe. So then the total size is -2. Sorry, the total size is the width and the height are 2, and I thought it was 1. So I need indeed a size of 1/2. So it runs now from -1/2 to +1/2, so the width of the text is 1 and the whole thing is 2, so now we have exactly a quarter if I shift it. And if I resize the window, it should become flat, yeah. It's really just using a quarter of the window with whatever the aspect the window is. So I still need to add now a half to the X value. I guess that is this X position here, which we're pushing. Yay, now where's my other texture? This one is now in the middle of this quarter, but I expected another texture here. Oh, I'm only seeing one texture. I think this 2 here is the number of instances. It should definitely draw another one. Now it's always possible that the other one is being drawn but outside the window, so I'll just have to move it temporarily at least to the bottom right corner. I'm going to add 1.0 here. And add 1.0 here. It's not working. I mean, it is working, but I think I want to. The second one must be lower. Maybe the second Y was higher. Was that a quarter? I think that doesn't really matter anymore. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, positive was down, so I start at -1/2 and then add 1 and then do -1/2 and +1/2, which should be the right values. It's impossible that it isn't. But I wanted to shift my original, so I'm gonna do the +1 immediately. Now I'm adding a double, I think, in the window.h. Doubles to make it float. Vinay Kumar, I'm using Arch. Okay, I moved it successfully to the bottom right, and the other texture is still not visible. I'm gonna assume that that the initial things are correct. We should not add this +1 here. Okay, well, we have only one X position here because PL is, it's only one pipeline. PL is always 0, but that's okay. So yeah, just the Y position should change. Adding one seemed to go to the bottom, so that's kind of strange. Why is it not working? Why is it not working? I have no clue. I suppose this 6 is correct. I mean, we do not have to multiply the number of vertices by 2 if I have a number of instances already equal to 2. If I make this 1, it should still look the same, right? Nope, doesn't. Well, that is then our other texture. Now I'm gonna assume that my second drawing is going right over it or something. I am using new Vim. This is new Vim. Yeah, well, I'm using Arch Linux because a friend was using it. I used a lot of different Linuxes. I bought the Valve Index VR headset and he got it working under Linux. So I thought, let's install the same thing. It still didn't work, by the way. Okay, I'm gonna assume that this here is not what I think it is. What would happen if I just explicitly set the y coordinate, should change, right? I set the y coordinate to plus 0.5. If it is not already, then that should give a change. I am showing you that. Nah, man, it's just too much work. Mostly just code and interface. So I would have to go over an incredible amount of API. And you probably just want to see something graphical. Fail to compile. No value required. Cannot change uniform buffers. Okay. That position thing is what? And position is factory. Anyway, that's not possible. This is my instance data. That's a vec4. Doing a vec4 instance position is a read-only uniform. I'm not going to answer that, Leo. Yep, okay, so I think that it's pretty clear that the M position is always 0 because it's not a half. Actually, it's always minus a half. Why the hell is it always minus a half? So yeah, I'm using M position index 1. Something is really strange though. I'm returning 2 here on the chunk count, and I'm having a loop. Because I expect that whatever the chunk count returns, well, yeah, is expected by the create entry to be filled. So because I return 2, I'm filling 2 entries here with data. Now what if it's calling create entry twice and it expects me to fill 1 entry? Then I would fill the first entry with, well, I0 and also something outside of that. And then it would call me again, maybe with the second one, which I maybe already filled, and then I would override that with I0. So that could be an explanation if I understood this chunk count wrong. And if you look at the existing code that works, it's bloody filling exactly 1 position. There is no loop whatsoever, even though chunk count returns something huge. So yes, I'm misunderstanding this, apparently. 3000. That doesn't feel very efficient to call create entity. It's a virtual function 3000 times. But apparently that is how it works. And I think that it should not work like that. It should. I should have a loop here. That just fills 3000 entries. Why is this filling just 1 entry? Let's go to base class. Vertex shader input set, and how often is it calling create entry? Oh, I think I got confused with next batch. What? Chunk count. Yeah, I meant next batch. Did I not? Did I use chunk count here? I did. This must mean next batch. Okay, I'm completely confusing things, but this must be next batch. Then the loop is correct. But I'm missing the implementation of some other things apparently. Well, this one only defines chunk count. I think then that's the number of times that we are being called, so that should be 1. Let's see if the default is 1. What is this? Heavy rectangle. Square. It's not defined. 0. Wait, something else. Chunk out 1. Yeah, this is a base class. It's image data feeder, also known. And not enough information here, documentation. Okay, again. Base class is shader builder vertex shader input set, which is indeed this thing, which is vertex shader input set base as the base class, and then entry is only used to define chunk size, which I do not have to define. This is final. So the chunk size is set correctly. The next batch I want to override with 2. This is also final, so I don't have to do anything about that one. And we must implement this one, create entry. And then this base class here, derived from data feeder. Just adding input rate. Let's go to data feeder. The size of one chunk in bytes. The total number of chunks. The value returned is the number of chunks that will be initialized by the next call to get chunks. Once the sum of all returned values reaches chunk count, no more calls to the next batch or get chunks must be made. Fill n chunks or n is the value that was returned by the last call to the next batch. Okay, so my next batch now returns 2, but I don't have a chunk count anymore. What should chunk count be? Also 2, I think. Okay, what the hell is that? Chunk count. There's too many. Okay, well, I think I just got confused. I thought, why is it compiling? But I don't think I tried to compile it. So this should not compile. Yep. What is this? Into bottleneck batch const override and not override. Cannot declare field. Int. It's not const. Why the hell is that not const? Okay. It needs to do some bookkeeping. Not in this case, but So like that, we have in total 2 chunks, and we fill 2 at a time. And then it should work. At least this explained why we had only 1 instance. And now we still have only 1 instance. Because I changed that 2 in a 1. I want to see it. That's 1. That would be in window.h at draw. No, you don't. 2 instances. Hello, Xamna Hypni or something. Hey, it works. Great. So that was the easy part. Now I want a second pipeline to draw 2 textures here using the same shaders but different textures. What is the first step, the next step that I shall do? Add a second pipeline. I guess that I could do, I can add a second pipeline and then we'll just get the same textures. Because currently I have a one-on-one relationship between a shader declaration and the texture itself. So if the second pipeline uses the same shader, it uses the same declaration, it uses therefore the same texture. Which of course I don't want, but that's how it currently is. I have to go shopping, so I think that then this is the last thing I do, and as soon as we have 4 textures, 2 textures, but number of pipeline. Let's set that to 2. And then I get, well, we have an extra graphics pipeline. I get 2 factories. The factories are both being run. They use the same characteristic. Which definitely means they get the same shader code. And then here we're drawing both. But I am using a push constant for the X. PL goes up, so the next one is shifted 1 to the right. Yes. And then the characteristic that both pipelines are using here, that is just defines the pipeline in a difficult way. Why do it easy when you can do it difficult? That is, it has a square and it has a top and a bottom position. So it draws 2 squares, one at the top and one at the bottom, just like the other one, of course. Exactly the same thing. What is different then? Is there anything different here? I think there should be. Constructor is different. Should be different. Yeah. The thing that's different is this pipeline here. Int is 0 or 1. So that's now M pipeline changed from 0 to 1. That's the only thing that's different. Let's have a look at that. Add shader resources 0 or 1. That is all. Too sure that is all. The only difference is then that add shader resources gets past a 0 or 1. We're not even using it. We cannot use it. I cannot add two different textures here, and that's the whole point. So pipeline is not being used, and therefore they are exactly the same, except for the X coordinate. And then I'm going shopping. Oh, food. Yay, food. Yeah, well, both pipelines draw the same thing now, but one is shifted. Pretty awesome, I think. And the 60 frames per second is because my engine limits itself to the frame rate of the monitor. It's just doing nothing most of the time. Or am I using 100% CPU? Come on, this should take 0% CPU. What the hell is going on? Is H top something, or should I just type top? Yeah. One core is using 100% CPU, core 6. Oh, and now they're not. I think I know it. Now, you see how stupid I am? I'm not even going to tell what the solution is. At least if the chat doesn't know it either, then I'm not the only one that is stupid. Okay, I'm going to do some shopping. I'll be back later today. Thank you for keeping me company.